Hi, new students. My name is Francesca Span. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of New Student Orientation, and I handle daily operations for the Office of Campus Living. I'm here today to walk you through our housing portal and make sure you're all set up for submitting a housing application for next fall. To begin, you'll need to log into the housing portal using your lclark.edu credentials. These are the same credentials you use to sign into your lclark.edu email account. Once you log in, you'll start submitting an application by pressing the Apply for Housing button. As you can see, you're brought to an option as to what type of application you want to submit, and because first and second years are required to live on campus, you'll be presented with an all-year application. Moving forward, you're shown a little bit about the Campus Living Office and the guiding philosophy. To start on your housing application, you'll submit some personal details. This information is held by Campus Living and relates directly to housing needs. While this information is input by you, the student, and collected by our office, we will not disseminate it with any other offices on campus. If you have an official name change or gender identity change, this needs to be communicated directly to the Office of the Registrar to make those updates official on your college record. I want to point out here at the bottom, we do have a little blurb about accommodation information. If you need a housing accommodation, we ask that you work with the Office of Student Accessibility on your housing accommodation needs. Their office will work with our office to ensure that your accommodation needs are met. Next is the housing contract. You can read through the whole entire housing contract here, and you'll also be sent a digital version of the housing contract once you sign. To sign, you'll use your LC student ID number, but you don't need to input the LC before the digits. Next is room preferences. These are preferences, not guaranteed rooms that you will be placed into, so just keep that in mind when listing your preferences out. You can list as many as you would like, and the more you list, the more options it gives our office when placing you into a room. I also want to draw your attention to the floor type preference. You'll see that there's two, mixed gender floors and single gender floors. At this time, all of our residence halls are all gender inclusive and have bathrooms that allow any and all gender identities to use them. However, this might not be ideal for some students, so we do offer 1 single gender floor for men and 3 single gender floors for women. These are low in availability, so please keep that in mind if you do select this as your housing preference. Next is roommate matching questionnaire. There's a few things on this page I want to point out to you. The first being your roommate matching screen name. The screen name will be used later on in the housing process if you have a friend who you know you want to live with. Next, you can submit a bio that others can read while searching for roommates so that they can learn a little bit more about you. You'll also be able to select the gender identities you feel most comfortable living with. We do this for a few reasons, and mainly it's to give students autonomy in their housing choices. Please note that all of the gender identities that you select will populate during roommate selection. So if you aren't comfortable with living with a certain gender identity, do not select it on this page. Otherwise, they'll populate into your roommate selection search results. Next are the questions about how you plan on living and learning in your room. I cannot stress this enough as to how important it is to fill out these questions as openly and honestly as possible. When you've completed your roommate questionnaire, the next step in the process is actually selecting your roommate. There's a few ways on how to move forward. The first relates back to the screen name I mentioned on the previous page. Let's say you know who you want to live with, or you've already connected with another incoming student. You can choose to search by roommate matching screen name and find that student and select them as your roommate. This is great, again, if you know who you want to live with. If you aren't too sure about who you want to live with, one of the next two options is for you. The first being searching by a specific answer to one of the previous questions asked. If you know that someone who sleeps in really late and goes to bed really early is not going to work with you and you want the opposite of that kind of roommate, this might be the place for you to search. But for the majority of students, I would suggest that you use the Suggest Roommates feature. The housing portal system will suggest roommates who answered very similarly to you on the housing questionnaires. It'll populate percentages and students who fit with you, and you'll have the availability to read their bio, send them a message, and request them as your roommate. If you're a go-getter and you started the portal the day it launched, I suggest that you leave this page and come back to it in a couple of days when other new students have also started on their roommate selection process. You'll have a wider rule of students to pull from and see everyone who fits in with you and your housing needs and their housing needs. Once you've decided upon a roommate and you are ready to move forward, you can press the Finish with Roommate Group Builder button. Next, you'll select a meal plan. There's only a few options for first-year students, but the one that's most popular is the 14 meals with 200 flex points. Next is signing the cohabitation agreement. While it's a little irrelevant for first-year students because the likelihood you'll be living with a romantic partner or have a romantic partner coming to the school is low, this is something we ask all of our students to complete. You'll sign using the same ID number that you used when you were signing the housing contract. And that's it. You've completed your housing application for next fall. At this point, you should know who your roommate is, you've selected a meal plan, and you've provided campus living with housing preferences. The campus living staff team will work to place you and your roommate into one of your housing preferences, and will contact you in mid to late July with your official room assignment. If you have any questions about using the housing portal, please feel free to email us at living@lclark.edu. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.